And anti-Gaddafi forces have retreated from the oil port of Ras Lanouf under heavy fire from land, air and sea. AlJazeera's Tony Bertley reports from Ras Lanouf.
Confident and determined, the opposition fighters in Ras Lanouf prepare for a fight against the might of Gaddafi's forces. This was a day that their resolve would be put to the test. A soldier implores his brothers not to waste their ammunition. Save your bullets for the fight, he pleads. That fight was just a short time away. Midday prayers in the battle zone, and the anxiety is plain to see. Away from the bravado, all of these men know the strength of the powerful enemy they are facing. Soon after, that power was unleashed. In prolonged artillery and mortar barrages.
Bombard the city so the people they will flee away and empty the city so they can come back to it. It's very, very critical city, very, very important location.
Unrelenting volleys of shells struck around Ras Lanouf, which the rebels have held for just over a week, but not for much longer. Convoys of machine gun mounted vehicles fled. There was panic and confusion, and the shells continued to fall. The barrages are quite intensive now. Something like 15-20 shells are going every few minutes. There seems to be a strategy here to try and hit the road to the east of the town and stop reinforcements coming in or people escaping. From the skies, the aerial threat was directed at the centre of the opposition build-up in the centre of town.
Bombs at see them dropping. See them dropping.
Two bombs hit nearby, a deadly signal of intent.
Okay, bring the car outside.
From our vantage point nearby, we became the target as Gaddafi troops came to about 70 metres of our position. And sprayed our vehicle with bullets. Our escape with a shot-out tyre was touch and go. Ras Lanouf was hit by a two-pronged ground attack from Gaddafi troops laying down blanket fire. Many rebels were killed.
Plenty people is dead inside. Plenty. I don't know number, but I think number is up. Hospital is bombed.
The retreating makeshift rebel army withdrew to lick its wounds and mourn its dead.
Where is the European Union? Where are the Muslims? They're killing us and Gaddafi's finishing us off. All the youth have been killed and everything's been blown up. A lot of people have died.
Everyone had wondered why Gaddafi's forces had not hit back in force in eastern Libya. On Thursday they did. It leaves them in a commanding position in a strategic area of the country. Where that leaves the opposition forces is anyone's guess. Tony Bertley, AlJazeera, Ras Lanouf, Libya.
Well, earlier we spoke to Mabrouk, a Libyan who's in the eastern city of Brega. He witnessed attacks there and in Ras Lanouf by Gaddafi forces brought in by sea.
I will start with Brega city at 12:30 p.m. this afternoon. A plane attacked the main road going to the oil fields and split it in half. And then I went to Ras Lanouf to deliver some medical aid to the hospital there. And I was shocked with the amount of attack of airplanes by the government forces. These planes come at 1 hour intervals, and they hit the back of the hospital where I deliver these medical aids, and all the doctors and the nurses have evacuated the Ras Nalouf hospital, and about 30 ambulances were taking the wounded and the dead to the nearest city, which is Brega, and then to Jdabiya. So Ras Nalouf at the moment does not have any hospital. Mr. Gaddafi forces has landed using a very big ship, which we thought it was an oil tanker. It exactly resembles oil tankers, but is painted as a grey color, and has landed about 12 boats, rubber dinghy boats, filled with soldiers, which they landed into the city, on the shores of the city.
Well, Muammar Gaddafi's son, Saif al-Islam, has said in his latest interview that Libya is ready to introduce democratic freedoms. But he also warns the rebels they face defeat. Imran Khan reports.
If they want to support the militia, do it. But I will tell you from now, you're going to lose. We will win. And we're not afraid of the American fleet, NATO, France, European. This is our country. We live here, we die here.
Defiant words from Saif al-Gaddafi, the son of the Libyan leader.
To those terrorists.
The rhetoric hasn't changed. The rebels are simply terrorists and the Libyan nation is united. It's a theme he further explores, saying that pro-Gaddafi demonstrators make up the vast majority of Libyans.
2 days ago, have you seen thousands of people marching the streets and the squares? You saw them early in the morning?
Yes.
This is the real picture of Libya.
But even when announcing the return of captured Dutch soldiers, he allows himself a slight smile, a sign perhaps that confidence is high in the government camp.
So we captured the first NATO soldiers. We're sending them back home, but we're still keeping their helicopter, the armed helicopter.
On the ground, though, it's a confused picture. The tiny town of Bin Javid has seen fierce fighting and no real picture of who's winning. The jets still fly overhead as talk on whether to enforce a no-fly zone dominates the international agenda. Perhaps, though, Gaddafi's last words are his most telling.
Libya is not a piece of cake. We are not a Mickey Mouse.
Fighting words indeed. Imran Khan, AlJazeera.
Well, on the international stage, NATO and the European Union have given the green light to send warships closer to Libya's coastline. But debate continues over declaring a no-fly zone. Britain and France have backed the plan, but the US is expressing deep reservations. Alan Fisher reports from Brussels.
NATO was never going to gather here and announce within a few hours that bombing was going to start against Libya air defences. We know that they've been planning for weeks. This was about sitting down, discussing those plans and finding out where NATO goes next. What became increasingly clear is that NATO will only take action if there's concerted international opinion to back them up, and if the United Nations gives a green light on the legal front. More talk, some action. NATO is putting more ships near Libya, helping humanitarian efforts, but a no-fly zone, not at the moment.
We need a clear legal basis. I assume that will be a clear